What should you bet this Conference Championship Sunday? Welcome, football fans, gridiron gamblers, and all of my degenerates. It's Mitch here with my AFC and NFC Championship best bets, including spreads, totals, and yes, even player props. So, if you're ready for my best bets, 3 to 5 picks for each NFC, AFC Championship game, you know what to do. Gronk, spike the like button, and don't be a jabroni. Subscribe to the channel for more NFL bets, including Super Bowl 60. Also, pinned comment and the description, my Patreon. $5 a month for all my bets that I'm making on Super Bowl 60 and, of course, this weekend, this Sunday, Conference Championship Sunday. Let's kick it off. My best bets for the AFC Championship, beginning with the spread. All the sharps are asking the same question, and they have the same theory. Why has the line moved so much? Bo Nix isn't worth that many points, is he? All I've heard is that exact statement. Nothing about how good the Patriots are. Nothing about the matchup itself. Just that the line has moved too much. And we don't think Jarrett Stidham's that bad. Well, I disagree. I will take the Patriots minus 4.5. Now, I actually don't disagree that Jarrett Stidham is bad. I think he's fine. I think he's a borderline starter in this league. He has a good arm. He makes decent decisions. He's a fairly decent athlete. But here's the thing about Jarrett Stidham, and we're going to begin here. He has not played a game since 2023. Now he's stepping into the biggest game of his life. He's stepping into a playoff atmosphere against one of the best defenses in football. And Jarrett Stidham was drafted by the Patriots. If there's any organization that's not going to be surprised by Jarrett Stidham and his ability, it's the New England Patriots. Josh McDaniels drafted him. He also traded for him when he was in Vegas. He knows Stidham intimately. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. And he's going to give that information to his defense. You don't think so? And now, Jarrett Stidham is having to play Drake May, an MVP candidate, arguably the best quarterback in football this year. So the Patriots clearly have a quarterback advantage. Not only do they have that, they clearly have the offense advantage. In pretty much every statistic, they ranked higher than Denver. Not even including that Jarrett Stidham is starting. So New England has the better offense, EPA, points, yards, whatever you want to look at. Doesn't matter. Defensively, a lot of people think that Denver is a top-end defense. But I could make a pretty strong argument that the Patriots are the better defense in this game. Since week 4, so basically since Christian Gonzalez came back, the Patriots rank higher in EPA per play. The Patriots are 4th. The Broncos are 10th. With Gonzalez and Milton Williams, this defense is top 2 against the pass and top 3 overall. In the last 2 weeks in the playoffs, the Patriots have put up 72 pressures against the Texans and the Chargers. They've allowed a combined, 22 points? And part of those points came from turnovers by their offense that set them in bad positions. On top of that, New England is playing a different style of defense. They're playing aggressive. They're getting to quarterbacks by blitzing and showing a variety of coverages, variety of looks, and their corners are playing fabulous football. Their man-to-man coverage is second to none, with the best corners in the league. Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, Carlton Davis, to me, make up the best trio of corners there is. And New England right now has been maybe the best blitzing team in football, not only in the playoffs, but also we've seen it down the stretch. The Patriots are second when they blitz in football in EPA. They're first in explosive plays allowed. They're second in success rate. They only allow a 3.2 net yards per attempt. And they have become the most blitz man-to-man heavy team in the NFL. Now, why that's important, okay? Denver is a pass-happy team. They led the NFL in pass attempts. Bo Nix led the NFL in pass attempts. So Denver, even with their backup, does not want to become this running team. And they shouldn't want to become this running team. Because with Milton Williams on the field, the Patriots' run defense is impenetrable. They're fourth in EPA per play. And in the playoffs, they've allowed 2 yards per carry to the Texans and Chargers. 2 to running backs. You can't run the ball on them. So Denver, especially if Dobbins is out of this game, will not be able to run the football. That then means that there's going to be a lot of second and longs, third and longs, and most likely Jarrett Stidham is going to be under duress. Blitz, blitz, blitz. And if Jarrett Stidham is under pressure, that is going to lead to mistakes, sacks, turnovers, and punts. So New England's defense, I think, is going to be able to replicate the formula against Houston and LA. Denver does have a better offensive line. Denver does have a better play caller. And maybe they have about the same weapons as the Chargers. Maybe a little bit better than no Nico Collin Texans. But I kind of feel like New England is going to dominate that side of the ball. Meanwhile, when you look at the Patriots offense, Drake May, and what he does well against Denver, even if you do see them as a better defense than New England, which I think it's arguable that they are not, but even if they're at the same level, I think we've seen teams run on them a lot more than teams have the Patriots lately. The Bills had a good day. James Cook had over 100 yards. We saw Washington run on them. We saw Jacksonville run on them. We saw Green Bay run on them. All those teams put up 26 plus points down the stretch. Every single one. Okay? New England has been running the ball a lot better lately. Since week 10, they're actually top 6 in EPA. Top 6 in success rate, running the football. Stevenson looks great. You saw him in that fourth quarter against the Texans. So running is one facet. Drake May against the blitz this year. First in almost every metric known to man. EPA, touchdowns, success rate, doesn't really matter, okay? He is first. Man coverage. He is near the top of the league. First in yards per attempt. Big plays. He's first in a lot of metrics against the blitz, against man coverage. What does Denver like to do? Blitz and play man coverage. They don't play like the Texans where they rush 4 and play a variety of man or zone because Texans can get there with 4 really, really well. Chargers play too high, a lot of zone, which gave the Patriots some problems because the Chargers were actually getting a pass rush, and New England couldn't run the ball as well against the Chargers as expected. So I look at this game as the easiest opponent that Drake May has played because of the tendencies that Denver has defensively. They tend to blitz, they tend to play man, and Denver has a couple of points of emphasis that New England can pick apart. Denver is 29th since week 10 against tight ends in EPA per play. Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper. Douglas and Diggs can make some magic in the slot vertically against these blitzes. Kayshon Boutte could take advantage of Riley Moss. Ramondre Stevenson slipping out of the backfield against Alex Singleton. There's a number of different matchups here that New England could target vertically, and I think explosives will be had. Now, Denver does have a threatening pass rush. They can create pressure, and Will Campbell has struggled. But outside of that singular matchup, New England should have balance. New England should be able to generate explosives. New England is really good in the quick game where Denver has kind of struggled lately against the pass. So I think this is an unexpected Patriot 27 to 30 point outing. And on the other side, I think that Stidham is going to struggle enough after kind of Sean Payton shows us his hand. After he shows the Patriots defense exactly what he's going to be doing, and I don't think it's going to be running the ball efficiently. I think it's going to have to go into Stidham's arm to win this game, and I just don't think he's going to be capable of doing it against pressure and against tight windows that the Patriots are going to generate due to their corners. So ultimately, New England minus 4.5 is a great look. I think they are the better team regardless of who's playing quarterback for Denver. I've said this all season. I do believe that New England is the most well-rounded team in football. Offense, defense, coaching staff, quarterback. I do believe that, and I'm going to stick with that. So I'm going to take the Patriots minus 4.5 as the opening pick of this weekend and this Sunday. If you guys disagree or agree, let me know in the comment section below. Now let's dive beyond the Patriots -4.5. So to couple that, I like the Patriots team total over 23.5. I think they're scoring 24 plus. I've kind of targeted the range of 24 to 30 points. Okay, when we look at Denver, like I said, against better offenses this year, they have surrendered. Last week, Buffalo, 30 points despite 5 turnovers. Jacksonville scored 34 in Denver. The Packers, despite Christian Watson and Zach Tom getting injured, scored 26 points. The Commanders in Washington with Marcus Mariota scored 26 points. The Cowboys in Denver, garbage time, but they scored 24. The Giants scored 32, and that's not even a good offense. Other than that, the Colts scored 29. Who else did they play? And certainly not the Raiders. The Chiefs' offense wasn't very good. They did look very good against the Chiefs. I'll give them that. They only played the Chargers once when the Chargers were relatively healthy. They scored 23 points. The Bengals had Browning at quarterback. The Titans, Cam Ward, that's not a good offense, right? The Jets, terrible offense. The Eagles, not a good offense. The Texans, not a good offense. So overall, when they played a good offense, they surrendered 24 plus points. That's pretty much the way I look at it. They've played a lot of bad offenses. They've played a lot of backup quarterbacks. A lot has been made of the Patriots' schedule, but the Denver Broncos had the second easiest schedule in football. That's a fact. So I do think, coupled with all the things I said about Drake May and the Patriots' offense, I think they're going to be able to score 24 to 30 points. I think Josh McDaniels is going to have his best game. Play calling, I think Drake May's going to have his best game of the playoffs. In no small part because it will be sunny. I mean, last week it was snowing, and the Patriots still scored 21 offensive points against the best defense in the league. Then you have Drake May as a player prop over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I do like this. He threw 3 against the Texans. This is actually at a pretty good price right now. I like this because May is going to have opportunities to score in the red zone because the Broncos have the highest tendency to blitz in the red zone, and he's going to be able to create shot plays vertically down the field. He's the best deep ball passer in the league. We saw that with Kayshon Boutte last week against the Texans. Riley Moss is susceptible to giving up big plays. Hufanga against Hunter Henry or Austin Hooper, those tight ends could make some plays down the field. And the Patriots do tend to throw the ball in the red zone. I mean, Drake May has thrown a lot of touchdowns this year. He's had numerous 2-touchdown games this year. And if I were to look at it, he only had their only touchdown against the Chargers. He threw 1 touchdown. But other than that, he's had, let me go through it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games with 2 or more touchdowns this year, throwing the football. And because of the aggression of Denver, I think that there is the capacity for Drake to throw the ball down the field and create a touchdown, or throw the ball in the red zone and create a touchdown. So I like this number over 1.5 Drake May passing touchdowns. Now let's look at a couple playmakers. I like the over for Stevenson and his total yardage, 70.5 rush receiving yards. This is a good number. Stevenson has been playing extremely well lately for the Patriots, and I think that's going to continue. As I brought up, the Patriots have been getting better and better and better down the stretch. He actually missed time last week against the Texans with an eye injury, and he had 81 total yards, 70 rushing yards. Against the Chargers, he had 45 plus rushing and receiving yards. So 2 games in a row over this number. Then against Miami, he had 131 rushing yards. Against the Jets, he went over. He had 55 receiving yards. He had 47 rushing yards. Against Baltimore, he had 51 rushing yards and 27 receiving yards. That's also over this number of 70, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row. Buffalo, 50 rushing yards, 27 receiving yards. That's 6 games in a row. The Giants game, 40 and 40. That's 80 yards. That's 7 games. What is that, 7 or 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 games in a row. The last time he didn't go over this was the Cincinnati game. So since the Giants game, Stevenson has gone over 70.5 total yards every single game. And that is against the Texans, the Chargers, the Ravens run defense, the Bills defense, a lot of defenses, right? So, and I think he's the lead ball carrier. Given how much that Denver blitzes, Stevenson will be on the field more than Henderson, and that's been the case lately against these good pass rushes because he's a better pass blocker. He's also a better pass receiver, and I do think he'll catch a couple big plays in the receiving game. He's been pretty frequent in the receiving game as well for this team. He had 4 catches last week, 3 catches the week before that for 75 yards. So I like Stevenson again here. I think there's a case that he could be running the ball in the fourth quarter. There's a case that he could be on third downs. He's just going to have a lot of touches. I mean, last week he had 20. So he could, if 20 touches, he's definitely going over this. So 70 and a half total yards from Ramondre Stevenson over. And then I like the Harvey under rushing yards, 43 and a half. Harvey only had 20 rushing yards last week. He had 46 receiving yards. This is only rushing yards. 20 last week, 28 the week before that. He had 28 yards on 15 carries against the Chargers. He had 43 yards against the Chiefs on 14 carries. He is a much better receiver than he is a runner. Okay? He's been frequent in the receiving game, and I think Stidham will get him the ball in the receiving game. But we saw Jaleel McLaughlin take about 40% of the rushing touches last week. They had 10 carries on the ground. 4 went to McLaughlin. 6 went to Harvey. Dobbins could play in this game, so I'd bet this quickly rather than not, okay? The games that he did go over 43, he had 50 against Jacksonville on 7 touches. He had 60 against Green Bay on 19 carries, 75 against the Raiders, and that was it. That was it since Cincinnati back in week 4. So he did it a couple times down the stretch. But New England, as I mentioned, they faced the Texans and the Chargers. Neither team could run the football at all. The Broncos don't have a very good running offense. They're not a very good rushing offense, just in general. Okay? The Patriots have allowed 2 yards per carry on 30 attempts in the playoffs. And they have allowed only one 50-yard rusher when Milton Williams has played this year. Sean Tucker. They've allowed 0 60-yard rushers. So for a running back that is not exactly playing the greatest, behind a running game that's not playing well, against a team that knows they're playing a backup quarterback and knows the other team wants to run the ball, I don't see how Harvey has 50 yards unless he breaks a massive carry, which just doesn't happen against the Patriots that much. So I like the under Harvey 43 and a half for all those reasons. Now, let's transfer to the NFC Championship conversation. The NFC Championship, I don't have as many plays here, and I'll wait for the last-minute best bets to really expand on some of my favorite plays for that game, so I want you guys to check that video out. But there are the 2 running backs that I think are pretty interesting in this game. So, I like Kyren Williams over 53 and a half rushing yards. I even would look at Kyren Williams 75 plus rushing yards, 3 times your money. He had 21 carries last week, and I thought that he got a lot more work last week than I expected, because usually it's been Kyren, Corum, kind of splitting touches, but last week it wasn't. It was just Kyren going to town. And the thing with Kyren is he had one really good game against Seattle. He had one kind of not so good game against Seattle, and the game that he didn't, Dotson was out. Dotson is back, their best offensive lineman, their best run blocker. In that game, he put up 70 yards. So it was more than 55, right? His prop is right now at 53 and a half. I think I would, at 55 plus, I would look at this as a bet, because he's gone over 55 yards, guys, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of his last 12 games, Kyren Williams has gone over 53 and a half yards on the ground. Against Seattle, he went for 70 the last time out on 23 attempts. Now, that wasn't a very efficient day, but Dotson wasn't playing. The first game he played Seattle, he had 91 yards on 12 attempts, which is 7.6 yards per carry, which Dotson did play. So I like Kyren over 53 and a half because he looks to be the lead guy. And I'm going to trust that. Also, the Rams have led in both these games, 14-3 and 30-14. So they've been up in both games, which means you're going to run the ball a little bit more. And I think the Rams can have success running the ball more than a lot of teams do against Seattle, who are a really good rushing defense. I also like Kenneth Walker in his receiving yards this week. Kenneth Walker's prop is at about 21.5. Last week, he went for 29 against San Francisco. The week previous against San Francisco, he went for 36. 3 catches, 4 catches. Against the Rams, he's had his 2 best receiving games of the year. 64 yards on 3 catches, 44 yards on 3 catches. He's the lead ball carrier. He's the lead back. He's the pass catcher. Zach Charbonnet's out. So I think he's going to get a lot of the ball. And considering that the Rams play a lot of zone and a lot of too high, that's where you're able to throw the ball to the running back, get it to the flat, and create some opportunities for Kenneth Walker on the edge. So I think Walker will be able to break a couple tackles here. The Rams aren't the best, the fastest defense. He can make them miss. And I think he'll get 4 or 5 catches, especially if they're playing from behind. He's probably definitely going to go on over this number. So Kenneth Walker, 21.5. He's gone over this 3 out of the last 4 games. He's gone over this 2 out of 2 times against the Rams. And there's no Zach Charbonnet, 21.5 receiving yards. I do like the Rams on the money line, and it simply does come down to Matthew Stafford against Sam Darnold. And I broke those numbers down in depth on my preview for the game, but I think both these teams are going to be able to slow the run game down well enough, and both these teams are basically dead even. As I mentioned, 58 points for the Rams, 57 for the Seahawks, 830 yards for the Rams, 829 for the Seahawks. In the 2 games, they're basically dead even. I think it comes down to the quarterback play. Matthew Stafford against Mike McDonald has been lights out. Even dating back to the Baltimore days, he has been lights out. 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. Last year, he beat them in Seattle in overtime, 26-20. This year, he put up 400 yards in Seattle. He's played really well in Seattle as of late. Even in Baltimore, he put up 294 and 3 touchdowns against the number 1 defense. He's had Mike McDonald's number in a way that a lot of quarterbacks haven't. Now, Sam Darnold has been absolutely at his worst against the Rams. Chris Shula has fooled him. He has 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions this year against the Rams. 4 interceptions in game 1 with a 45 passer rating. 2 touchdowns and 2 picks in game 2. He took 4 sacks. Last year in the playoff game, where he was a Viking, he took 9 sacks and threw a pick. So he has never exceeded an 84 passer rating. He's been sacked 13 times, and he has 3 touchdowns to 7 interceptions in the last 3 meetings against Chris Shula's defense. And the Rams have the perfect formula to get to Darnold. They have good pass rushing interior defensive linemen. They have 2 high structures. They play a lot of zone. They force a lot of checkdowns, and they take away explosive plays. They also utilize more twists and more simulated pressures than any defense in the NFL while not blitzing. That is a formula to get to Darnold, to confuse Darnold, and to have Darnold seeing ghosts. This is a matchup league. Stafford plays well against Seattle and Mike McDonald. Darnold plays like crap against the Rams. That's why I like the Rams at the end of the day to pull off the upset. So give me the Rams on the money line. But I'll have some different plays for you on my last minute best bets. So make sure to check that out, guys. Thanks for watching. These are your AFC and NFC Championship best bets. It's Mitch. Deuces.